I'm not sure if the actual scheduled 80 itself, this is scheduled 80. I'm not sure if this plastic itself, see how this is shiny? The fittings for a conduit aren't shiny. They're kind of like a matte gray. So not sure if not what they could possibly do in your tank. I know regular PVC is pretty much inert in seawater, even though this stuff is very caustic and dangerous to the environment to make, which is pretty ridiculous when you actually see what they have to do to make polyvinyl chloride to make this stuff. But anyways, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to drill a hole. This thread will just fit through, and then I'm going to take my chamfer bit or my beveling bit of my router and go around the edge to create this smooth bevel. Yes, so this will basically, this line here will be at the top of the epoxy, and this part will be down inside the plywood. Now, if you look at Pond Shield's site, all their instructions say that their stuff sticks very, very, very well to PVC. The only thing you have to do, PVC primer. Okay, so I've already told you guys that the aquarium silicone sticks very well to the Pond Shield Pond Armor epoxy. You just scuff it up a little bit with some 60 grit, and it sticks very, very well. So I will epoxy after I sand some of this down so it's nice and smooth. I'll primer it, I'll epoxy it before I use any of it. Don't really have to worry about this side. And then, of course, that's why I'm going to wait to spray the last coat of epoxy until after I drill these holes and these sit good in there. And I know I can tighten them up well, where I don't feel I'm going to have any issues. So once this part's epoxied, I will, and the hole's all epoxied, I will get this pretty close, because try and do kind of like injection molding like I'm going to do with the glass in the tank with the sealant. I'll get this just about tight. I'll squirt the silicone in there and tighten it as fast as possible. Also get some on the threads, you know, in this area that's going to be in the middle of the plywood. It's going to be epoxied, of course, so it should stick fine. And I'm going to pre-test these first, and I'll mark them so I know how far to go. But I will epoxy these threads that are going to be showing. So with the mass amount of silicone in there, and this being tightened right away, should be zero issues with them leaking. So it's you know, this is a couple dollars, $70, couple dollars, $70. You know, if money was no object, would I mind having a bunch of these? No, I wouldn't mind. But I got other stuff. This tank is, you know, gonna cost enough as it is. I gotta buy all new live sand for my deep sand bed. The inside of the tank is gonna have coarse crushed coral only around the base of the rocks, where I'm gonna put probably PVC fittings or something, so that point of the rocks is not setting right on the epoxy. You know what I'm saying? Whether I cut a piece of 2-inch pipe and set it, you know, on the bottom, and then the corner of the rock sets in it. The smaller rocks I don't really worry about, but the two big pieces that I have that are like 60 pounds a piece, 60 to 70, yeah, that one's got to be 65, 70 pounds, and the other one's a little bit smaller. They're two solid rocks. You couldn't really tell in my tank before, but I'm definitely, they have some legs that come down on them. Definitely going to stick the rock in a cup or just a coupling or something, just so it rests on the epoxy. Kind of like, don't mind the threaded part, but kind of like this, and the rock will sit in it. You know, say this is the corner of the rock. It's going to sit on there. That way, it's not anything sharp possibly to penetrate this epoxy. Even though it's really, really solid right now, there's no sense to take the extra effort to, I mean, it's not worth how cheap these are, if I can get the words out, damn it. These are cheap enough couplings. Well, this isn't a coupling, but to buy small couplings and use them as supports. And then I'll do the crushed coral or coarse rock, Agri-Alive or whatever they sell, right around these just to cover them up so you can't see them, and they will be and then the crushed coral will not get blown around. Because I mostly have SPS tank. You know, I do have, it is slightly mixed, but the main goal, and most of my corals that I still have that have made it, are SPS, and that's mainly what I had before that. So I didn't have as much flow as I wanted before, but now I can have a lot more flow and not have to worry about sandstorms, sand moving all over the darn place or anything. And I can force some down at the bottom to make sure I blow up any detritus. So, but the only sand I will have will be down in the sump. I will buy a few bags, probably 6 bags, Agri-Alive, and then I'll buy some Oolite and some of the gray Seachem products, because they help with magnesium and balancing calcium alkalinity and pH, so there's not much pH drops. But the skimmer has fresh air intake, so my pH stays pretty good. But once I add the recirculating needle wheel pump to the skimmer and juice that sucker up, I should get a lot of air draw. I shouldn't have any issues, because right now the sump, I mean, my ORP is in the 400s, and that's I haven't been running ozone or anything, and that's the 90 gallons of water that's been currently circulating since I took the display offline with the skimmer running. So it's definitely working. But anyways, I just want to let you guys know what was happening here, and that I will be sanding these areas. This is actually working perfect. You know, I'm not giving a lot of effort. I don't care if there's a little bit of a bump. Mainly the sanding is to make sure, because this is cured, and it's been way more than 24 hours, is that the epoxy sticks to it. And the 60 grit really isn't that tough when you think about how hard this stuff is. So I don't know if you can see the areas that I've already sanded, but I don't mind a little tiny lump. I just don't want that fibrous feeling I can feel with like the polyester or whatever came off in the rollers or whatever ended up in the paint, or the epoxy, I mean. So anyways, Joe Cool out. Put my Neptune hat on, even though I'm a little pissed off at they making everybody buy the new Apex to use the Triton and some other new things. But we're not going to get into that right now, because that's a whole nother video. Anyways, so hope you enjoyed the video, and if you have some more questions, feel free to ask. And oh, one more thing is, I was going to do some black, but I had some leftover sky blue, and I've already done some of it. I don't really care. I mean, the only spot that's going to see light is the refugium box area, the spinning area, and I'm going to have a lid on it, and the light's going to be down in it. No other light's going to spill anywhere. So I figured just order 1.5 gallons of the sky blue, like I already have on the base. That way, if I need it somewhere else, I won't be mixing colors, you know, because I still want to do my overflow and all that out of wood, and a coast-to-coast drain system, surface skimming. So I just ordered it, and it was $10 cheaper. Of course, I got the faster shipping, so kind of defeated the $10 savings, but not too worried about it. And see how the spraying goes on the top here, and maybe I'll just spray the whole sump, a couple coats, and be done with it instead of trying to roll the whole darn thing. As it says you can spray it, so just have to thin it out right. But anyways,